We joined a tour and cruise with Imagine Cruising, which took us around India's Golden Triangle, including a tiger safari in Ranthambore and a train trip into the Himalayas. After leaving Jaipur, we set off on what was to be a long journey back to Delhi, passing by rural villages where marble sculptures were made. Another roadside industry was forming cakes from cow dung, which is used as a fuel in India. Due to roadworks on the route, the journey took 11.5 hours. We stayed at the Leela Hotel again, arising at 5 a.m. to catch the coach to New Delhi station for the 7:40 express to Kalka. Our luggage had already gone on ahead by truck. The train was quite full but comfortable enough, and refreshments were provided during the journey on top of the packed breakfast and lunches we had been given. The journey to Kalka took almost 4 hours, giving us just 10 minutes to make our connection to the toy train to Shimla. The 96 kilometers long narrow-gauge Kalka-Shimla Railway, often called the Toy Train Line, was opened in 1903 to connect Shimla, the summer capital of British India, with the northern plains. The railway is 2 feet 6 inches wide. The first carriages were very simple four-wheeled carriages. Light and short, only 17 feet long. Our carriages were similar in size, and although they were uncomfortable, they were very quaint and added to the experience. The onboard toilets were not very nice to use, so most of us held on for the 6-hour journey to Shimla. The railway is in the Guinness Book of World Records and is also a World Heritage Site. It is one of the most beautiful hill railways in India. It was considered the crown jewel of the Indian National Railways during British times. Over its 96 kilometers, the railway passes through 20 stations, 102 tunnels, 912 curves, and 969 bridges and viaducts with an average 1 in 33 gradient, taking it from 655 meters altitude at Kalka to 2076 meters at Shimla. The rail line begins its climb just after its departure from the Kalka railway station. The toy train chugs along the line, whistling through the trees and mountains at a speed of 22 kilometers an hour. As the journey begins, one is taken in with the change in vegetation and the majestic glory of the railway stations and Gothic-style bridges en route. The most refreshing part of the journey is the experience of sitting by the window, or leaning out of the door. Breathing in the cool breeze and taking in the greenery, the smell of fresh dew on the vegetation, the chirping of birds and the sight of cattle grazing around the track. The train stopped a while at Barog Station, which gave us a few minutes to get off and stretch our legs. It is almost midway along the route at 1,531 meters altitude. The stop provided us with great views of the valley below and some good photo opportunities. Our journey continued higher and higher into the Himalayan foothills on our way to Shimla. As we wound our way along the tracks, the views became more and more spectacular. As we passed by this station, a group of chaiwalas, tea sellers, jumped on board the carriages to sell their wares. One of the guys almost jumped on me, as I was sat low down in the doorway as I was filming. Slowly we climbed higher and higher, with the air getting thinner and thinner and the views getting better and better. We started to see more and more evidence of civilization, with houses clinging to the side of the mountains. Eventually, we saw glimpses of Shimla in the distance. Then, after 6 hours, which only seemed like 3, we arrived at Shimla, once the summer capital of India during British rule. Please like and subscribe to get notified of additional videos. On arrival in Shimla, each couple were transferred separately by taxi to the Welcom Heritage Elysium Resort Hotel. This hotel was bijou, but was definitely the best hotel we stayed in for the whole tour. The rooms were small and a little cramped due to the abundance of furnishings, but the quality of the decor and furnishing was second to none, and the staff were absolutely amazing. They were friendly, courteous, and extremely attentive. Nothing was too much trouble for them. That evening we went into the bar area, to be met by incredible views across the valley and over to the center of Shimla. We ate in the restaurant, which provided a sumptuous buffet of Indian cuisine with a few a la carte dishes of international flavors. The food, like the hotel, was high quality and delicious. The next morning, day 9, we were taken on what was billed as a walk through the Himalayas. The walk was along a glen and was around 4 to 5 kilometers long, over some uneven ground, and included some steep hills up and down. We had a local guide provided for this, and he said that if after a short distance, anyone who wanted to could turn back, if the walk was too much for them. He kept his word and asked if anyone wanted to go back at about a third of the distance. He pointed out many things to be seen, including the different trees, bushes, vegetation, and animals. Along the way, we came across a group of women who were busy foraging for the kitchen. There were lots of nice photo opportunities along the way. Some of the pine cones were incredibly big. There were even bigger ones in the valley bottom where they had rolled to. From this point, we could just see the snowcaps of the higher Himalayas. Unfortunately, the camera didn't quite pick them up. Towards the end of the walk, we could look back towards the north side of Shimla. We were able to see a different view of Shimla, complete with the Hanuman monkey god statue standing high above the city. At the end of the walk, the haze lifted enough for me to get a good shot of the snow-capped peaks. After the hike through the glen, we were taken back to the hotel for a free afternoon. Shimla seemed so different, in that it was clean and very civilized, and the traffic was calmer. So Margot and I took a taxi with our new friends Kevin and Rosie into the center of the city to have a look around the bazaar and the shops. Shimla has a very active police presence, and this contributed to the feeling of safety. In many places there were also signs warning of heavy fines for littering and even imprisonment for urinating in the street. This all made for a very pleasant experience in the city. The mall road was closed to traffic, which also added to the pleasant surroundings. The mall road area was reminiscent of a European town in the mountains. As always in India, there were wild dogs roaming the streets, but they were friendly and never caused any trouble with the people. This dog even liked to enjoy the vista across the city, taking in Christchurch and the town hall. We finished off our do-it-yourself walking tour of Shimla with a visit to the Sky Bar for a gin and tonic. To get onto the mall road, you need to take a lift up the mountainside. The Sky Bar was just 100 yards along the road to the left of the lift exit. The panoramic scenes from this bar are spectacular, and the prices of drinks were also very reasonable. As the sun was starting to set, we met back up with our friends at the lift and then got an Uber taxi back to the hotel to settle down for another evening of good food, nice drinks, and great company. The next morning, we were taken once again by taxis to the Viceregal Lodge, also known as the Rastrapati Newas, which is situated on the Observatory Hills of Shimla. Built by Henry Irwin, it was formerly the residence of the British Viceroy of India. It houses some of the ancient articles and photographs going back to the times of the British rule in India. However, photography was not allowed inside. The building is now used as the Indian Institute of Advanced Study, and so most of the building is only accessible to the scholars. From here we can see the runway for the city's airport. After lunch back at the hotel, we were taken by taxi to the car park at the bottom of the lift, which you can see here. From the car park, we could see how the houses and businesses were clinging to the mountainside. You could also see areas where landslides had taken away people's homes and livelihoods. In the far distance you could just make out our hotel. Our local guide then took us all up the lift and along up the Mall Road to the Gaiety Theatre, which is now a cultural complex and has a police station below it. The theatre has been open for 137 years and has hosted many stars in its time. Next to the theatre is the Shimla Town Hall, which dates from 1910 during British rule. Our next point of interest was Scandal Point. So called as legend has it, that Maharaja Bhupinder Singh of Peshawar had an affair with the daughter of a British viceroy in Shimla, and arranged to elope with her, their rendezvous to be at what is now named Scandal Point. We then continued on up the Ridge Road towards the Yellow Christ Church, which is the second oldest church in northern India. It was constructed in the Neo-Gothic style, which was popular in Victorian England, and so it reminded the English of their hometowns. After leaving the church, we were given an hour to explore ourselves and were told to meet back at the lift in order to get taxis back to the hotel. However, a small group of us spoke with the guide, who agreed that we could make our own way back after taking the cable car to see the Hanuman statue of the monkey god and the Jakhoo Temple. After a long climb up the hillside, we came to the cable car station and got return tickets for 500 rupees each. There were incredible views from the cable car. Once again, as we climbed, the air got even thinner, making walking difficult. At the top of the cable car we were met with snow and our first sight of the statue, followed by the Jakhoo Temple at the top of some steps. One of the Hindu gods that is worshipped by the Hindus of all ages including the children is the monkey god, Lord Hanuman. The Jakhoo Temple is visited by many tourists to worship the monkey god. The architecture is stunning. The area has many wild monkeys which are fed by the people as offerings. However, this leads to the monkeys expecting food, and they have ways of getting it by stealing mobile phones and glasses and holding them to ransom for food. As you pass by the temple you get up close with the Hanuman statue, which is truly magnificent. It seems as if the god is taking care of everyone in the city and each one in the city is getting blessed by him. The statue is 108 feet tall and is famous as the highest statue of the monkey god in the entire world. This statue is mounted at a height of 8,500 feet on the hilltop. Being so close to the statue fills you with awe. The sheer size of him is so impressive, his big toe alone is about 2 feet high. Once again, time started to run out, so we took the cable car back into Shimla. At the cable car stations, you could buy refreshments. The cinnamon chai tea was delicious. Before going back to the hotel, we decided to buy an ice cream from Twisting Scoops on the Mall Road. Our friend John ordered his ice cream and got more than he expected. Will he ever get his ice cream? Still nothing. Taste it first. Now taste it for the camera. Hilarious. You must visit these guys if you are ever in Shimla, and take an unsuspecting friend. That evening we went back to the hotel restaurant for another culinary experience, and said our goodbyes to the hotel staff. The next morning our luggage was taken on to Delhi and we had the morning to ourselves to explore around the hotel area. They park their cars above the houses here. At around midday, we took private taxis again for a 4-hour drive back down the mountain to Kalka, for the train to Delhi. Some dignitaries were visiting Delhi, so the traffic was horrendous, delaying our arrival to the hotel at 11 p.m. This was a major inconvenience because a third of the group had to be up at 3 a.m. to catch the early flight to Mumbai. The rest of the group followed on, an hour later. Other than the Taj Mahal, Shimla was the highlight of our tour of India.
If you haven't subscribed yet, please click our logo. Thanks.